Hey lovelies, how are you all doing? So I said I was going to be back and doing more YouTube more regularly, and then I just haven't, and it's because I've been so busy in the Choose to Rise Facebook group. I'm writing my first book, I've been doing my first online program, but what I have done is I've been keeping up the videos in the Choose to Rise Facebook group. So what I decided to do was to take one of the live videos for you and to put it up on YouTube in case you're not in the Choose to Rise Facebook group. If you are on Facebook though, you totally should be in the Choose to Rise Facebook group. So I'm going to put that up for you next, and yeah, so the quality might be a little bit different because it's downloaded from Facebook, but it's 5 tips for you to feel more empowered. So I hope you enjoy it. Hey lovelies, how are you all doing? A little bit later tonight because I had a problem with the video, so I'm just going to check it's all gone up properly. Yes, there I am. So tonight I wanted to do a video on 5 tips how to be empowered basically. If you're new to the group, I'm Kirsty and this is what I predominantly do. Teach women how to be empowered, how to love themselves, because you're either empowered or you're not empowered. You can't be both. You can't be disempowered and empowered. If you're not empowered, you're disempowered. It's never one or the other, and I never used to be empowered. If you know me, you'll know that I used to be incredibly shy. Like when I was at school, I was literally, no like exaggerating here, like the shyest person in school. I wouldn't really speak, you know, if I was like, I remember this boy had this like, used to call me Little Miss Talk a lot, and it was like sarcasm because I would never speak. When and that was like secondary school, and then when I was like in like primary school and stuff, my mum used to have to come in and like answer the register for me, like because I just would never speak. I was really shy, so I was never really an empowered person, and now I just do anything I want to do basically, and teach other women how to do that as well. So as you're hopping on, do say hi, and yeah, let me know how you're doing. So tonight I'm going to give you 5 tips. I'm going to keep it really short and sweet, but I was really excited to do this video with you because empowerment is so important, because if you do not feel empowered, you just won't go for the things that you want. It takes a lot of kind of self-belief, courage, to go for the life and your dreams basically, and to also just live really fulfilled. So I wanted to give you tonight 5 tips on how you can get really empowered. Tony, #1 fan here right there. Well, I should hope you are. So the first one I want to share with you is to take radical responsibility of where you are right now in your life. So there might have been stuff that's happened in your life that was no fault of your own. You know, other people may have hurt you, treat you really badly. You may have lost your job. There may be just really awful circumstances. But right here, right now, you are fully responsible for what you do going forward. Right here, right now, you can make your future so incredible, but it starts with what you do right now and taking full responsibility. Nothing is going to change unless you decide right here, right now, that I'm the person in charge of making my life so frigging incredible, because you totally are. Nobody else can make your life the very best it can be but you. You have to take so much responsibility for your life and what you're creating and for your future. The big thing that I always teach, we've got Self-Love-Timber coming up, like starts a month tomorrow, I'm so excited, is about self-love. And what I always say to people, and you'll hear me see this like probably in just about every live video that I do, which is basically wherever you go, you've got to take yourself. Wherever you go, there you'll be. So you are the one who's responsible for making your life so good, and if you aren't really truly fully happy and fulfilled, that's okay. Give yourself so much grace and compassion, the same as you would with anybody else you love. But then remember that you can now make your life so incredible. But it starts off about like what you do right here, right now, in this moment. And it starts with you taking so much responsibility of where you are right now and facing whatever's going on head on. So if you're like suffering with anxiety, if you're got like debt or whatever mounting up, that's not going to go away unless you face it. And you have to just take so much responsibility for that. And that doesn't mean to say you were to blame for whatever situation you're in, but if you disempower yourself and you don't do anything about it, then you become responsible for the future that you create. And there is so much that you can do, and you don't need to know all the answers, you don't need to know all the steps, you just need to take the next step. You just need to empower yourself enough to be like, I'm just gonna do the next thing. And the next thing could just be as simple as, I'm gonna be kind to myself. Because quite often when we beat ourselves up, we don't rise up and create the future we want, because we're so busy giving ourselves a hard time. You think about like the person that feels appreciated, they go above and beyond. You know, if somebody doesn't feel appreciated, they don't. So have some like grace and appreciation for yourself and how far you've come and everything you've got through. There's nothing you've never got through. So have so much grace with yourself. But in this moment right now, take full responsibility for your future, because you can make it so incredible. So that's the first tip that I have for you. The second tip I'm going to give you is to stop lying to yourself. So I used to lie to myself all the freaking time. So much that I didn't even realise that I was lying to myself. And a lot of us do this, and you know, we lie to other people. So we'll say things like, I'm fine, when we're not really fine, when we're not really feeling great. And when we lie to ourselves, we don't have to do anything about it. There's this Mel Robbins video, it's a YouTube one, it's quite viral, so you might have seen it, where she says, you know, about saying I'm fine, how genius that is, because if you're fine, you don't have to do anything about it. Being fine, like being okay, is like your biggest enemy to your greatness, because it's comfortable, and in that comfort you don't have to do anything. And I'm all for like being super grateful for what you have right now. It puts everything into perspective and your life will change. But at the same time, if you lie to yourself and you pretend things are like fine when actually you're not really feeling great and you're not really enjoying life, you are lying to yourself. And it's okay if things aren't great, but stop lying to yourself, be honest with yourself. And then it comes back with the first one, like, have loads of compassion with yourself, have loads of grace. I used to also lie to myself about, I used to say like bullshit like, oh, money doesn't drive me. And it was bullshit, because yes, money doesn't drive me in the sense of, what really drives me is helping other women. That is what I'm so passionate about. It has always been that way. From leaving school, which was what, 16 years ago now, I did holistic therapies just because I didn't really know why. All I knew is I wanted to help women feel good. It's always been that way. Always wanted to help women feel good. That is like what really drives me. But to say money doesn't drive me is a lie, because all of those things take money. To put on an event takes money. You know, what drives me is like having a really good family life, and I want to be able to take my kids and stuff on holiday. Those things cost money. What really drives me is freedom. That takes money. You know, if you're like worrying about the cost of things, you don't feel very free. So sometimes we tell ourselves things aren't really that important, and it stops us from like achieving these things, but actually they do matter to us. So now I've completely changed my language. I'm like, money does drive me, I love money, like it's not my driving force by any means, but I've really got quite unapologetic about wanting to earn really like insane money, because I know when I do that I can do more good and I can get my message out more and I can serve more people. And yeah, so I've stopped lying to myself, and I didn't even realise I was lying, because there is so much truth in that, in the fact that yes, it's not my driving force, but if you look underneath those things, so for me, what like money can do, it does matter, you know. So that's the next thing, like catch yourself out, really take an inventory of the things that you're saying, and like, is this true? Another thing I used to do, I used to be like, oh, you know, I just want to be with my kids all the time and do all that, because I thought that was me being a good mum. And it took me a while to accept that I'm not an earth mum, and because I really admire all these, like, you know, mums that, you know, do all the stuff with their kids and do all the baking and do all that, and I wanted to be that kind of mum, and then coming to realise that actually I wasn't, and I really like working, and I'm really, really ambitious, and really just accepting that that doesn't make me any less of a mum, and to stop lying to myself and just be honest and be like, no, you want to do this, you want to go after your dreams, and you don't want to be, you know, the stay-at-home mum, and that doesn't make you any less of a mum, it just makes you a different mum. So I had to stop lying to myself about that. So that's the second thing I would say, like, stop telling yourself like little white lies that you might not even realise you're telling yourself, but we tell ourselves little lies all the freaking time. So take an inventory on those things. If you're just catching up, do say hi, and if you've missed the first 2 steps, go back when this is finished and catch them, because they're really, really good steps in you becoming really empowered and feeling really, really good. So the next one, the third step, is self-discipline. We quite often think of like discipline is not kind and not very loving. If you're part of the Choose to Rise program, if you've done that with me, or the Choose to Rise event, you'll have heard of me talk about this one. But discipline is so important because we so often wait to feel like things, and often the things we really want, we're not always going to feel like it, we're not always going to feel motivated. If you want to get into really incredible shape but you don't like working out, you're never going to feel like working out. But if you know that getting into shape is going to make you feel really good, it's like loving yourself enough to have the discipline to do that. You think about, like, I don't know, you've got a child who wakes up in the middle of the night. Because you love your child, you get up and you go and see your child, and you may not feel like it, but that is love, and we do it. And you have to have that same love and that same discipline for yourself. Be willing to do the things that you don't feel like doing. Lydia, hi Lydia, I'm really excited you're doing the Choose to Rise program. So yeah, it's loving yourself enough to do that. I know I've shared this before, but there's like a Will Smith thing where he says, I love you too much to let you eat the cake, I love you too much to let you have the pizza. And it's one of those things, nothing wrong with cake, nothing wrong with pizza, I have those things myself, love those things. But if you know, for instance, you were trying to get into shape and you kept doing that, that is like self-sabotage. And whilst you're self-sabotaging yourself, you are not empowered, and you are not going to achieve the things you want to achieve. You're just not. Nobody ever feels like doing a lot of the things that it takes to get towards their dreams, but then when you do it, you just feel so fulfilled because you're like, I did this, and it wasn't always easy, and it was really, really hard at times, but I freaking did it. And it's like one of the most beautiful things you can do for yourself, but also the people around you, because when you rise, you don't just rise for you, you rise for other people as well. And other people start becoming empowered and they start doing things, and that changes so much in your life and everybody else's life, because people don't really listen to what we say that much. You got kids, you know this. They listen to what we actually do. So if you are not doing the things that you really want to do, so I'm not talking about the things that you want to do right here in this moment, because, you know, if there was cake or whatever, you might want the cake. But I mean, like, if long term, I always use fitness as an example because it's a really easy one for people to wrap their head around. Plus I used to be a fitness instructor, so I feel like it's always there. But you know that you actually want to get really fit. It's like having enough love for yourself to kind of sometimes say no. And it doesn't, and also it has to be a lifestyle. So sometimes you'll say yes, But if the majority of the time you're choosing actions that are taking you further away from the things you want, you are not empowered. So make sure everything you do, the majority of the time, is taking you closer to the things you want. And everything has to be in balance. So sometimes you'll be like, I'm just going to let my hair down. I'm not going to worry about it. That's actually really loving. That's actually really empowering. Providing it is coming from an empowered place of like, I'm really being like conscious. I'm really being aware that I'm making the decision to kind of, well, you're always either going closer or further away. So you're making the decision that right now, like, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing right now is to just let my hair down and enjoy it. So you've got to realise that every decision you make is taking you either closer to what you want or taking you further away. You never stay stagnant. You never just stay in one place. So it's loving yourself enough to make sure what you're doing is taking you to where you want to go. So it's like knowing what your goals are, knowing what your desires are, knowing how you want to feel, and making sure you're getting closer to them. And then the next one, number 4, show up. Everything you want is going to take you really, really showing up. So, for instance, Self-Love Temper's coming up. You will get out of it what you put in. It's a free challenge. If you're showing up for lives, if you're all in, if you're actually doing the things, you'll get incredible results. If you give up after like 2-3 days and say, oh, I'm not worth the effort, you just won't feel as good. This is the same way with everything you do. Anything you want is going to take you showing up. The things that you really want in life, they're not just going to come to you. You know, I totally believe, and, you know, we can put a rocket of desire out there and we can have our answers, our prayers answered, basically. But even that is free will. And if you want something, but so for instance, say you wanted a successful business or whatever, you cannot have one if you don't start one. Everything you want is going to take you showing up, because everything is free will. If you do not show up, you won't have the things you want. So know what you want and show up for them. And you don't have to strive, you don't have to like push for everything. If anything, I think that can be almost push things away, because nobody likes that kind of needy energy. But for the things you want, you're really going to have to show up. I get sometimes like people will message me wanting like tips and advice and things, but I'll have a video on that and they won't have watched the video, or they won't have even joined the Choose to Rise Facebook group. And it's like, if you don't love yourself enough to actually spend some time like listening or watching, and this doesn't have to be my stuff, this can be anyone's stuff, or to like Google something, because a lot of the things you can literally just Google. If you don't love yourself enough to invest that time into yourself, your life is just not going to be incredible. Because you think about like love, or you know, anyone we really care about, you cannot ignore them and expect them to be all happy about it. You have to show yourself that same love, that same affection. You have to be really showing up for you. It really matters. And the last thing to be empowered is you have to know what you want. You have to get really, really clear. Is what you're doing right now really making you happy? And if it's not, that's totally okay. Not everything in your life needs to be making you perfectly happy. It's like contrast, it's yin and yang. We know one because we know the other. But if your day-to-day stuff isn't intentional and you don't know really what you're going for and you don't really know what you want, you're not being empowered and you're not getting closer to those things. So you have to get really clear on what you want. So you have to get kind of a vision for your future on how you want to feel. If you want to feel more confident, a confident person is very decisive. They just do things. They're not worried about making a mistake. They know that there is a million right ways to do things. And they also have the confidence to know that if they kind of get a bit lost on the way, that they will figure it out. So you have to think about who you're becoming, what you're embodying, what you want. And you have to make decisions as if you were already that person. Because if you decide to be, you will be. I used to say all the time, oh, I'm not a very confident person. This was literally till pretty recently. And then I realised, I was like, that's bullshit. Like, I don't want to not be a confident person. So I just decided, actually, I'm going to be confident. I'm going to show off. I'm going to do the thing. Because what you say about yourself becomes your reality. Like, the stories you say about yourself, they really do become your reality. So really get clear on what you want and who it is that you are becoming. Because when you know that, you can take aligned action from that place. And if you don't know what you want, there's loads of ways you can get clear. First of all, of course, do the self-love. You know we've got the challenge coming up. When you start doing self-love, and I mean proper self-love, I mean like facing your insecurities head on, having grace for yourself, having compassion with yourself. It's not all like nails and, you know, doing face masks, and all that stuff is beautiful, and self-care and stuff, but that's just like the tip of the iceberg. Real self-love is doing things that you may not want to do. It's like the self-discipline that I said, that you know is going to take you towards the things you want. It's really facing your insecurities head on and not just accepting that you have to put up with never feeling good enough, because you don't. So do the proper self-love work, because when you start doing real self-love work and you just take one step at a time, the things you want for the future, your purpose, your desires will become clearer and clearer. And it comes with, like, you know, the fourth thing that I shared with you. The more you show up, the more clearer things will be. So that's one of the ways you can get really clear on the future you want and your vision. The other thing is like meditating. I have a higher self meditation on my website. It's like £3. So it's really inexpensive. There's also ones on YouTube that I'm sure you can get. If you keep listening to this and you listen to it regularly, it will really help you connect to the future that you want. The other thing you can do is journaling. You know, Marie Forleo, I heard her say this today. She was like, wouldn't it be nice if? And write that down, wouldn't it be nice if? And then just write loads of stuff down, even if it sounds like totally bonkers, totally like out there, totally ridiculous. Because what will happen is the steps to get there will start to become much, much, much clearer. You don't have to know, you know, see the whole staircase is what I always say to people. I don't think anyone does. You just have to take the next step, and then the next thing will be revealed, and the next thing will be revealed. Another Marie Forleo quote that I totally live by is, clarity comes from engagement, not thought. You cannot like think your way into knowing the answers, because empowerment comes from like your heart and your whole body. And like we can literally, you know, the amount of times when we've wanted to do something, you know, and we'll tell ourselves, oh, we should be doing this, and you find yourself procrastinating, and it's because your body doesn't feel like it, so it's just like, no. And you don't get up and you don't do the thing. That's because if your body's not in it, nothing's going to change. And this is where you have to, like, you know, have the self-discipline, but also knowing the things you want has to come from like a whole body experience. So you have to get in your body, you have to do the meditation, do the journal, but also do the self-love work. That's where it all comes together, and just start taking the steps and things will be revealed. We so often wait to know the perfect answer or to know the perfect plan or to be 100% sure, but the only way for doubt to go, the only way you build up your like self-belief in yourself and you build that muscle is when doubt comes up, you like love yourself enough to do it anyway. You don't stop doubting yourself by every time doubt comes up, you stop doing the thing. You build up your self-belief when you're scared and you're frightened and you do it anyway. That's how you cultivate that. So when you have an idea and something you want to do, if you don't start like leaping and taking the action, and it doesn't have to be anything big or extreme, it can be just a little shuffle. But if you don't start actually just going for those things, nothing will change. You have to start leaping towards the things you want, even if you're scared. It's like embodying, like, you know, as I say, a confident person. They would do it. If you want to feel more confident, you have to actually think about the characteristics of a confident person. A confident person is really empowered. And also remember, you don't have to be confident to do something. As I said to you earlier, I used to say for so long, up until really recently, that I wasn't a very confident person, and I was still always doing things. I would just do things like crapping myself. I'd be like, I'm really scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. The amount of times I was so scared. Like, I'm doing this live video right now for you. I now do a program where it's all live, and I charge money for that. But I can remember a time when I saw coaches doing like these live coaching calls, and I thought, oh gosh, I would never have a coaching call. Like, I'd feel so self-conscious just like speaking to somebody who I didn't know on video. And now I'm the person doing the talking, doing the training, doing the thinking, because I just kept leaking and kept doing stuff. But it started off as like me just doing one thing at a time. So it started off like I did, you know, blogging, and then it turned into YouTube, and then I did, like last year I did Selfdiscipline. None of it was live. I didn't have the confidence to do it live. Now this year it's coming up in just over a month. Every single day I'm going to be going live with you, and I don't think anything of that. I just don't, you know, I just show up, just do a live video, but that's what happens. Like, confidence grows by just doing the damn thing, and not waiting till you feel confident or to feel like, oh, this must be the right thing, like I have to be 100% sure. You will never be 100% sure. You know, it's very rare that you're going to be 100% sure on something, but you can be sure about yourself. You can be the person who's always going to have your own back, because you decide if you're going to have your own back. There is no right or wrong way to do something, but there is the decision to not do something. And inaction is still action. It just means you won't have the life and the things that you want. So know what you want and go for them. So if you have any questions, do let me know. Otherwise I'm going to wrap up, because I've been talking for like 30 minutes. And I'm trying to keep these videos much like shorter and sweeter in the group, because if you want the longer stuff, there's the Choose to Rise program. And also I did do a poll up in here, and everyone said like they prefer them more regularly but shorter. So every Wednesday I'm going to be in this group doing a live video for you. So do look out for them. If you have any requests, do let me know. And yes, just remember that Selfdiscipline is starting a month tomorrow. It's going to be in this group. It's completely free. I've got some other incredible women getting involved, and I'm super excited about it. So quickly just go over everything. First one, take radical responsibility for where you are in your life right now. Second one, stop lying to yourself about stuff. Third one, self-discipline. Fourth one, fully show up. And the last one is know what you want. So I hope that was helpful, and keep choosing to rise. Choose empowerment, because it is a decision, it is a choice. Being empowered is you just showing up anyway, loving yourself enough to just go for it, and it is a choice. You cannot be one or the other. You're either empowered or you're disempowered. There's no middle. Choose empowered. Choose to show up. Choose to make your life incredible. And you need any extra support with that, you can DM me or join the Choose to Rise program. So with that, I'm going to send you loads of love, and namaste to you all.